Hello, this is Dean Radin, and I'm on Your Superior Self.
Hi, I'm Anita Murjani, and this is Your Superior Self.
Hello, this is Dr. Raymond Moody, and this is Your Superior Self.
Hi, Cultural Creatives. I'm Bruce Lipton, and I'm here to join you with Your Superior Self.
Hi, this is Paul Selig, and this is Your Superior Self.
What's up, everybody? I'm Aubrey Marcus, and this is Your Superior Self.
Hi, this is Jolie DeMarco, and I'm here on Your Superior Self.
That's awesome. Nailed it. Jolie, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show.
Love to be here. Thanks for having me.
So you have a new book out, right? Meditation, crystals. I'm not familiar with crystals. It seems like a lot of people are. Can you talk about that? First off, I'm sure it's not a new thing, right? It just probably hit the mainstream and everyone's into it now. But meditation, I am very much into. I love meditation. It's a great way to connect with the universe and my higher self. Crystals, though, not so much educated on that. Can you kind of get me up to speed?
Yeah. So crystals basically are parts of the earth, and a lot of people, basically they've been using them since the beginning of time for healing, for self-healing on our bodies. Crystals have frequencies, so it's kind of like a science thing, where each individual crystal has its own frequency, and that adjusts our electromagnetic field around our body. So because we have our own unique frequency too, when we use something like a tool, like I always call crystals tools, basically their energy will affect our energy and either help us release, balance, or advance us in things that we need. So kind of like a vitamin.
Like a vitamin.
Yeah, kind of like vitamin, only you
don't eat it.
Have to ingest them.
How did you what's your background? Like, how did you come into a lot of this knowledge, and how did you write the book?
Well, when I was younger, I always wanted to be a geologist. I'm talking 8 years old or so. I used to roll around in crystals and have my own little rock tumbler. I'm sure a lot of kids did then. And just through playing with them, I didn't realize that, maybe I could have invented the crystal bed at that time, but just the energies of them. And as I grew older, now I'm 50 and working with crystals, I know the science part of it too. So I use that together. And in the last about 16 years, I've been working with crystal grids and doing crystal grids on people to help them with their wellness as holistic healing. So it's really amazing to see people shift their energy once they realize that it could just be frequencies that are holding them back, or frequencies that are disrupting, their natural rhythm of their bodies. So it's really kind of, cool that this holistic healing modality is, coming back again.
Sure. So. I gotta do some research. I gotta get that book. I gotta buy your book and figure it out. Because I'm learning more about the chakras. I'm starting to, the deeper that I go into meditation, and I can see, it feels weird to say this out loud now that I think about it, but like when I go into a deep meditation where I kind of I'm starting to dabble in transcendent meditation. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
TM. And I can see in my body, my body, I can see it where the chakras are not fully it's not, I don't want to say, it's not lit. Maybe it's not as bright, the colors that are associated with that. So my heart is the clearest one that I can see, which is green, I think, right?
Yep. Green or pink. Yep.
So I can see the green, but everything else, especially down in the root, in the sacral, and the other, I can't remember the other one, but there, you can't see them as much, right? So that means to me that I need to work on those. I didn't really, I'm still learning about them, right?
Yeah.
Can you give the audience and myself I don't know if there's a quick introduction on them?
Yeah, I'll give you a little 101. It's in most of my books I write. I always talk about the chakras too, because we never taught about our energy body. We're only taught about our physical body in school, and our energetic body is so important on how we think and do things in our lives. So your chakras, we actually have 144,000 chakras in our bodies. Okay. And the ones that everybody knows or thinks they know about basically are the 7 main chakras, which if you think about it, they just go aligning in the center of our body. And so the first one is at our root chakra. So that's at your coccyx down there. So that's where it really is located. And most people, like, this always drives me a little crazy, because when we talk about the chakras, people always think they're just this round circle disc and it's just a color and it's flat. It's not. It's 3D. You got to think of them like a spiral. Does everybody know what a slinky is? You know what a slinky is?
Yeah.
Okay, so they spread apart. It's just like that. So first of all, our electromagnetic field, our aura, is around our body arm's length. So as far as your arms can go, all the way around 3D. Okay, so now your chakras are like this slinky that's inside your aura that goes all the way out arm's length forward and back of your body. So it goes through you. Okay, so it's all energy, remember? So it's just kind of like cell phone vibes. Okay, only better. And so now when this energy goes through your body, each chakra represents something different to our body parts, meaning like our functioning organs and also our thoughts, right? So it's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So if you learned about your aura, there's these different layers of your aura: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Now back to the chakras. So your first chakra is the root chakra. We call that the first chakra. And that is about your grounding. The color is red that we use to represent that. And your grounding, a lot of people don't know what grounding means. Do you know what it means, Trey?
Grounding, like connecting with Mother Earth, maybe? Is that?
Yeah, or just wanting to be on Earth. Like some people that don't want to be here, if I checked your chakras, let's just say somebody was, testing themselves if they want to be on Earth or suicidal or something like that, have problems like that, they might not be grounded, or their root chakra might not be healthy. And there's ways to check it with a pendulum, or if you get really good, you could hand scan, feeling vibrations with your hands. And so the root chakra represents being present on Earth, being more present in the moment, and wanting to be alive here in this Earth dimension. And the second chakra is called the Sacral Chakra. That's just below your belly button. That's our, that's our sexual organs for men and women. And basically that is for our creativity. So the color is orange. I even have a stone that we use. We call this the sex stone. This one's orange calcite. So basically is the color orange. It is for creativity. So that means anything that you want to create. If you're like me, a writer, or if you do music, any of that kind of stuff, painting. I see Trey has a painting in the back. It's beautiful. Anything like that is use your creativity. And then our sexual, way we feel about ourselves and our power. A lot of people, when they have, I want to say, an unhealthy chakra in that area, there's always a positive and a negative in each chakra. It could mean that, maybe that you have fears of not having enough. Like usually in men, it's not enough money. In women, it's fear of being alone. So that can indicate, a positive or negative in somebody's body. And then moving up to your solar plexus, which is the middle of your stomach, that's the third chakra. So that one represents the color yellow, like bright yellow, like the sun. And this is your power. It's like some people say it's your ego. You always hear people talk about your ego. We're never supposed to get rid of our ego. We're just going to have to balance it because it doesn't go away. And so that one's a really powerful. That's your self-power. That's you feeling important in your life and purposeful. And then moving up to your heart chakra, this is Trey's favorite one, right, Trey? The one you see a lot in your meditations. Some people see the color pink and some people see green. There's no right or wrong. It's just what you're seeing or feeling. And remember, not everybody's a seer, like visual. Some people don't, you could still feel and sense things without seeing things. So I don't want people to think if they're meditating, it's not working. But in your heart chakra, this is love and compassion for yourself and also other people in your life. And so that's just knowing that you're a strong, loving person, your true, authentic self. And if you feel something's missing there, then it could be relationship issues or also self-love. And then the next one moving up is our throat chakra. This one, the color is light blue, represents us speaking our truth, being heard by others, and also listening to other people. People always forget about it. They always think it's talking and being loud. It has nothing to do with that. It's about speaking the truth. It's about being heard by others and also, listening to yourself too. So that one's a really strong one. And then your third eye, everybody knows your third eye in between your eyebrows. This one is our intuitiveness. The color can be violet or a deep indigo blue, like a kind of like a dark color blue like this. And we talk about your third eye opening. It just means all of your senses. And it's funny because it's your sixth chakra, but we call it your third eye. So people always get confused. So the best way that you guys can remember it is think about your six senses. all of your senses. That's what it does. It opens up all of your senses. So your third eye opens up your intuitiveness, but all of your senses, smelling, feeling, touching, visual, all that. And that makes us more aware and mindful of things. And then all the way up at the top, just above your head is the crown. Well, it looks like I got some cool energy here. And anyway, so just above your head is the crown chakra. And this is your connection to your guides, your spirits, whoever your universal source is. So I always say, Jah, Buddha, God, whoever it is to you, it's all. And that's where you could connect directly to them and feeling this connection to them, feeling positive and loving.
Love it.
Unconditional love.
Love it. I love it unconditionally. Have you opened your third eye? Like I hear that quite a bit, and I'm just kind of like, so it kind of confuses me a little bit too, because it's like if my third eye is open, you said senses, right? Like I'm thinking like if my third eye is open, do I see different things? Like do I see things differently? Like
well, yeah, it's kind of like deceiving. That's why I always say like people always think like psychically it has to be one way or another, and it's not. Like I always say, it's like putting pieces to a puzzle. Like as a clairvoyant, I see and sense things. I can also taste information. Like, you know, if I was doing a reading for somebody and they had somebody come through that had passed over, let's say I felt like I was in a kitchen and all of a sudden I'm tasting like, you know, cranberry sauce or something, then I would say, oh, this is what I'm sensing. Mm-hmm. So you can get it a lot of different ways. Some people they hear a little message. It sounds like somebody's talking to you, or all of a sudden it just is a thought that pops into your head. So if it's a thought that pops into your head, that also is a way of receiving information. And think of it like a little puzzle. You put all these things together that you're receiving, and that's opening up your third eye to these senses. So it doesn't always have to be so cookie cutter one way. It's so many different ways. So there, like, again, there's no right or wrong. There just is different ways of receiving information. So give me an example, Trey. Like what do you mean? Like something happened that you're
no, like I hear like I feel like when I get into a meditative state and I can calm my mind, like I'll hear, like I don't hear voices, like thoughts will come in, like a voice, or like maybe like the way that I talk to myself, I hear that in my head, but it's not really, I don't know, I don't think it's me doing that, right? I think it's right. Like channeling from a higher self or something like that, guides, whatever you want to call it. And then like my analytical mind will come in and be like, what are you doing, man? Like you're making that crap up, like, you know, like, but I don't, and I feel like the deeper I go in meditation, like I can connect with things, right? But I don't know if I have that, like I struggle with that, right? Because I don't know if it's me or if I'm making it up or my imagination. Like that's what I struggle with. I think everybody struggles with that.
Yeah, you're not making it up. 9 times out of 10, the first feelings that we get intuitively are correct. And like if you're hearing something that sounds different than, you know, you or like, you know, somebody actually that you would be hearing in your household or something, it is that voice. Like I always say, we're never alone. So it can be your higher self, and there's ways to distinguish that. And all you have to do is ask. So it's really simple. Like your guides always say, you know, like just ask us and we'll tell you. So, and you could get your answer through a feeling if you're not necessarily hearing something. So let me just give an example. So let's just say, Trey, you were getting a message that maybe you're supposed to write a book. Okay. And so if you're supposed to write this book, you're feeling this urgency or this, you know, energy that you're supposed to do that. And then you're like, well, I don't know if it's just maybe, you know, my ego or somebody telling me to do this. So all you have to do is take a moment when you're meditating and just say, okay, I just heard a voice or an information from someone other than me. And I want to know if I'm supposed to move forward and write a book. Is that something good for me? And just take a second and notice what you feel in your body. So just close your eyes, take a deep breath in and exhale out. And then whenever I like hold my heart chakra, I could always feel like a yes or a no. And so that's your own body telling you too, that it's a message that's other than yourself. So now you're receiving something and then you're getting your confirmation. So it can be really cool to do that and test yourself a little bit with it. But even if it's your higher self, Trey, and anybody out there that doubts, you know, getting messages from your higher self versus another spirit or source, your higher self is for the best and greatest good of all you are. It's the purest part of us. It's our soul. And so our soul always wants the best for us. So as long as, you know, you're not saying something negative to yourself, because if you're hearing something negative, it's not from the light. And it means it's not from your spirit guides of the light. It's not from any sources that are unconditional love, because they never want to say anything bad to us. So you could just cut them right out. Either that or it's your subconscious that's telling you some nonsense talk that makes no sense. So it's easy way to just, if it's bad, it's good, say goodbye.
do, do you channel? Like, I think I saw that on your website, intuitive channeler, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm a clairvoyant channel is what they call it. So that means I see, sense and feel things from others than humans.
What do you feel for me?
Okay, so I'm going to ask Archangel Michael, usually who I channel, specifically for Trey, some information that he needs to know that would help you out in a positive way. Is that okay that I say that for you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so I always ask for permission. You always ask for permission if you're going to channel for somebody. Okay, so please may I ask Archangel Michael to come through specifically for Trey, any information that will help him in a positive way. All right, two things I am seeing. Interesting, when I close my eyes, I keep seeing this big triangle around you. And so like triangles usually mean that there's not just three energies around you, but it's also showing me that you have a lot of power behind whatever you're gonna complete. And I see you working on a couple different things at once. Like your guides are trying to get you to write, and like that's why I said it to you earlier. You might not write it in maybe such a book form, but it might be more of a compilation of a workbook I'm seeing, and I feel like that would be really successful for you. I also see that your guides are telling me right now that you're gonna get bigger with your, I want to say your original goal of like speaking to people and getting more information out, because you're going to start to, when things open up a little bit more with the universe, I see you kind of going on tour, and it still could be tour through Zoom and other means, but I see you going with a group of people, like there's 3 or 4 people I see on like a stage with you, each kind of doing kind of their individual separate kind of things, but it all kind of works together. So it seems like some sort of symposium or something that I see that's going to launch it, but it's going to be from the writings that you're doing.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not the first person I heard that about a book. Like, I have literally no idea what I would write about. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's not the first time I heard about a book. And I'm just like, you know how you're fighting things? You're like, I'm not writing a book. Like, you know, like, but then again, it's like, feels good. Like writing a book, like that would be cool. You know? You're
going to write more like you talk. I would, and I'm serious. I was taught that too, but I really feel like that you are. And I feel like it's going to be more of a workbook, because
like what kind of workbook though? What is a workbook though?
Workbook is like helping people move through things. Like, so like, you know how you're learning stuff about chakras and all this kind of stuff? Like you could pose all these questions about things, and then you'll have the answers to it in there too. So it's like a Q&A book. And it's a workbook for people to start working on themselves. And then they go through it and they're like, hey, I'm going through this too. So like I could see where I am, and then I can move forward with it in that way. And I feel like it's going to be a whole different type of, like, you know, not just a regular traditional book kind of deal. So I feel like it's going to be more in means with how you're going to start communicating with other people and growing and getting bigger with your speeches and such.
Well, that's another thing too, because like I just lost a friend. You know, we weren't like close. Like he's a friend. Like we've talked, and he lost his life, his battle, probably like a month ago, maybe not even a month ago, less than that, and through COVID, right? And we talked, you know, through professionally, right? Like we knew each other, and you know, we had a great, you know, working relationship, and he passed, and like I was meditating and. I felt like his energy was around me. Like I could like hear his voice or his energy, and it was very like him. Like I knew it like felt like him. And he's like, you know, bro, like you've been working hard at this for the blah, blah, blah. Like keep going, keep pushing yourself, because eventually one day it's gonna pay off. Like you're gonna do big things. And it just felt weird that he was telling me this, because like we never ever discussed any of this, right? Like this right here, this is my thing that I love to do, that I put myself into, that I work long nights, weekends for, because I believe in this type of work. But I've heard this along the way through different people, through some people with gifts, and like the ego likes to say, you know, yeah, you're gonna do this and that, but then it's like you have that doubt where it's like, you're not, dude, like you should just, you know, stop doing this. But what are you doing it for? You know what I mean? You doubt yourself, because it's like you just, it's hard to see, like, how do I even put this? Like when you're doing something that you're so passionate about, and you keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, and you're just not seeing, the light at the end of the tunnel. It's hard to stay on track. It's hard to keep pushing yourself, because it's like you're just, the doubts are less the doubts are, I guess, greater as the time goes on. You're not seeing the results, but again, is it because you're so closely tied to the project that you just don't see the growth? And so when I hear these things, and I love, I really truly, this isn't the first time I heard of a book, but I kind of like, yeah, I can't see it yet, like, does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, we're all spiritually guided in some way or another, whether it's like, when we say spirit usually is a person that's passed over that was once on earth. And then there's, guides and angels. There's, I want to say, different classifications of whatever, contact that we could have. But the thing is, whenever you're hearing anything positive, it can be your friend coming through, especially if they use like the language that they would be using, like, them best, and especially if you're feeling the energy. So I would not doubt that at all. And especially if you were close to him and you admire each other, they're definitely going to watch over you. And they hear us all the time, just like a cell phone. Whenever you think of their name and you kind of zone into them, that's like a phone call to them. And that's why they're coming through. I do a lot of mediumship, and it's just amazing. Like, I don't know these people from anything, and they come in and I'm getting information, sometimes names even. It amazes me every time. And it's the most beautiful thing. It is the most beautiful thing. So don't doubt yourself that you're hearing your friend. I did that early on when I had some friends that passed away when I was in high school, and I wanted to contact them. So I did something a little kooky. So I got a candle and I made sure there was no air blowing on it or anything like that. And I lit it, and I said, okay, I said, if you're here, let me know. I want you to kind of make it go twice. And I started my own like kind of Morse code with my friend, and literally, like, I was communicating, and I was like, holy crap, this is cool. I'm like, shit. So, oops, sorry. And so anyway, then I said, well, let me get a notepad. I want to start like hearing him, so I would say things to him out loud, and I would say things, and then I would start writing, and all of a sudden I felt like somebody took my hand. It's called auto writing, and started taking my hand, and I had a really cool pen in my hand that would kind of draw easy. And I started drawing something and all this stuff. And then I started getting words. And now, like, that's what I do when I do readings for people. I auto write. Like, I listen before you tell me anything. I just start auto writing things for people, and then I read it back to them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's so amazing, and anybody could do it. I actually talk about it in the one book, How to Meditate with Crystals. I teach people how to do the auto writing, because I think it's such a beautiful thing if you want to connect with somebody that's passed over in the light.
How long have you been doing this? Like,
I've heard voices since I was a kid. So a little unique in that way. But when you're in college, you don't do too much. You're kind of in your own world, and you zone out a little bit. You're not as mindful, I think. And but when I got into my 30s is when I started really, hearing and sensing even stronger, even though, like, when I was a kid, I would hear things outside and sit by a tree and hear things. So
like another voice, or your voice, or your thoughts?
Another voice was always another voice. And interesting enough, like, I didn't know anything about the angels. Like, I say that I channel ArchAngel Michael. I knew nothing. I went to this healing, thing with some seasoned people at the time. I was in my 20s, and this lady's like, doing this kind of like a Reiki healing on me. And she was like, hey, what are you hearing? Because I started saying I was seeing all these visions and stuff, and I would channel. And she said, well, who are you talking to? And I said, I don't know. He said his name's Mike. And she's like, Mike. She goes, do you think it's ArchAngel Michael? I said, who's that? She goes, just ask him first. And then if he says yes, go look him up when you go home. And I said, okay. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I'm like, ArchAngel Michael is like the Mac daddy of all,
Yeah.
And protector and all knowing, they say he's closest to God, or whoever you believe is source. And so, I felt super blessed and honored, so like, I'm very honored with the work that I get to do.
Did you research archangels after that?
After that, I did, because I would hear other voices, and I want to know who they were. And sometimes they don't like to tell us, they like to mess with us, and they don't want to say, oh, my name is so-and-so. So I said, okay, that's cool. So I could feel your energy. And then I would feel like a certain one was more healing. So like Archangel Raphael, I would see a green color. It was interesting. Then when I read a book later on, they're like, oh, if you see green, it could be him. And green is from the heart center, which is healing. So it kind of makes sense. And
I see 444 a lot. Like, I see all the time.
when we see numbers, numbers are also saying that our guides and angels are around us, but it also can mean, like with numerology, like everybody kind of has a different rendition of what the numbers mean if you look stuff up in different places. But fours to me is reconstruction of life. And they're telling you that you're around, but there's change and there's transformation. So if you keep seeing it over and over again, it's like, hey man, are you transforming? You're supposed to be moving a little bit here.
Do we all have like archangels that work with us, or is it just kind of like some people get archangels, some people get like, you know, other angels or something?
I think some of them are just automatic, but they're everybody's angels. Like Archangel Michael, if you think about it, he is a multidimensional being because, you know, think about how many people call upon him. I mean, probably millions of people in one day, right? And probably at the same time. And so I think it's really, you know, amazing how they can be here for everyone, you know, everyone, and all of us can do this stuff, all of us.
Do you hear his voice, or do you hear a voice?
I guess I'm assuming it's his voice, and I feel his energy more. I feel his presence because it feels really strong to me. Like if I ask Archangel Michael to please come through, I'll hear boom, and I feel like this presence. So I always tell people, recognize what you're feeling, because feeling is just as good as hearing. And sometimes you'll feel more than you'll hear. So like Trey, if I said to you, what does your pizza look like? If you had to visualize a pizza.
My pizza looks like circular. Are you talking about a pie or a slice?
Pie.
Pie is it's from my favorite place is Cervical. It looks orange with some white cheese, and the crust is burnt, and it tastes fabulous.
Okay, cool. So yours is just a regular cheese pie, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool. Okay, so like if I was asking you to visualize what you think my pizza would look like, then you'd be doing a reading for me, right?
Yeah, I think you're. Let me see. You're a pepperoni girl.
No. I'll eat it if I have to, but I usually pick it off. But
What kind of pizza do you like?
I like Hawaiian pizza.
No, I would never guess that. Like I have no guess.
Hawaiian or anchovies. So yeah, I'm actually Italian, so I shouldn't be liking Hawaiian, but anyway, but when you're visualizing something, just like I asked him to see his pizza, right? Or visualize for me, think about it. If you're doing a reading for yourself, or you're trying to get information, you want to ask specifically for you, and you want to ask one guide at a time. A lot of people, they start asking like, oh, I want to ask this guide and this guide. So they're telling three different people to, you know, three different energies to come through, and it can be very confusing. So you might get a lot of mixed messages. If you just ask one guide to come through for you, and you say your full name, and you want to say that it's this earth dimension that you want them to give you information on, right? Because some people believe we have past lives and other dimensions where we exist, depending on what you believe in. And so of course you want to ask for information. Like, so Trey's going to say, hey, please may I ask Archangel Michael to come through specifically for me, Trey, so this way I can get information in this earth dimension of 2021. Okay, and then you just listen and feel, and whatever comes, you're going to start writing it down. You're going to get that information, any visions, anything, just write down whatever you're feeling, sensing, or anything. And then you'll see, it might just be little broken pieces at first, and then it'll make sense to you what it is.
Do you have to use your legal name? Because Trey's my nickname. Like I'm the third. So
yes.
That always kind of gets me. Like,
like, yeah, if I was doing a reading for you, Trey, I always have you write in your own penmanship, your full name and any name you've ever had. Anything you've ever had, like even if you had a nickname, you write it all down, and then I'm going to say a prayer with that entire name, and then I'll start to auto write whatever I receive for you. But yeah, it makes a huge difference, because if I was a reader, I could be picking up on your energy. Like even if you're reading on yours, you might be picking up on your father's energy if you're a third, right? Or your grandfather's or whoever's. Yeah.
Can you do some automatic writing right now?
You want me to automatic write for you?
Yeah.
Let me get a pen and paper.
We did this last episode. I think I had an automatic writer. She had some like technology where she had a computer and a laptop or something where she could do it live. Like I don't what app, I don't know, but it wasn't working that night. But next time when she comes on, she's going to be able to, the video is going to be able to see her writing. I don't know if it's a different camera angle or something, but as she's writing, you'll be able to see it. You know what I mean? Like real.
Oh,
like,
that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Let me, hold on. I'm just going to get one thing.
Yeah, back. Sure.
Okay, I'm quick. All right. So all you need is blank piece of paper, pen, Okay, so I'm gonna say it just like if we're doing a reading, okay, everyone. And so he would normally write his name down, but I could do it for him as long as he's given me permission. Okay. So now I'm gonna say, please may I ask Archangel Michael to come through for the most accurate, loving information, so Ms. Trey, and the greater good of all involved, this earth dimension 2021 and beyond. Accurate timing, accurate information, amen. Okay, so I'm scribbling a bunch of stuff here. Sorry, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first message that I got from Archangel Michael for you, Trey, they said okay, this is interesting. Like I kept feeling like mother energy or grandmother energy here. So I was getting somebody that was passed over. I don't know if you have your grandmother's passed.
Mm-hmm.
And she kept saying, she just wants you to say that you're so hard on yourself. And she wants you to know that, you know, you are on track. She said he is on track. And she made me write it like and circle it. And so she said, keep going. She doesn't want you to stop. Okay. She loves you very much. Then this one's from Archangel Michael. Second message I got. He says, don't get down on yourself. He keeps saying money will follow in December of 2023. Like I keep seeing like, you know, a big gain for you in 2023. So everything you've been working for, it is building. And this kind of epiphany that I think you're going to have right now, there's a lot of cosmic stuff going on. There's a bunch of planets in retrograde, and I could tell you about that too. But basically in November, things are going to open up for you, and the opportunities that you've been like kind of dabbling with a little bit, you're going to know exactly which ones to go forward with a little bit more. And in December, you know, this is December of 2023, okay, because 2022 is coming up, but this November of 2021 is when things are going to start like moving and shifting up in a higher level for you. 2023 is when I'm going to say is when you're making your big money or whatever your big goal was eventually that you thought about a long time ago. It was the money that you thought a long time ago that you wanted to make, because now you switch things up and now you don't have all the pressure on what you always were looking for. So when the pressure is gone and you're not forcing the energy, it's going to come, and it's going to come in 2023.
Huh.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then my third message to you, I kept seeing like, I don't know if you have a child or not, but I feel like their school is going to change. There's going to be something with the school that is, I don't know, it's not going to work out in the original way.
Yeah.
So I feel like
I have three kids.
Okay. One of them I feel like is definitely going to change the school or location of the school, something like that. I feel like maybe there's going to be something that you're going to pull them out and change something.
Yeah.
Okay. But I didn't see it as bad. I saw it as like a good thing. So it's good.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. So the grandmother thing, very cool. Keep going. I hear that all the time. Like that's like stands out quite a bit, right? Mm-hmm. The 2023, November 2023. Is that what you said?
It was December 2023. December. This November of 2021 is when things are going to start moving forward, because there's a lot of planets right now in what we call retrograde. And that just means like there's spinning in one place and standing still. And there has been, 3 planets in retrograde for the last couple of months, like 2.5 months, which is making people feel like their purpose isn't enough right now. And we're in transformation. So people are having ups and downs with things about they're doing in their life. And since we're in this transformation period, Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter are all working on our energy. And then we just went into a Mercury retrograde too, coming this Saturday. So we're in the pre-shadow. So I know it might sound like a bunch of jargon to a lot of people, but basically what it means is we're in this push and pull energy where one day you want one thing and the next day you want something else. And you're maybe not feeling as purposeful right now, and that's normal. Mm-hmm. Some people are going some low lows and some high highs, and by October 15th, you're going to feel like the beer goggles got pulled off, and you're going to be like, hey, I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm going to start moving forward with things. So right now it's a really confusing time for people, and so just kind of move through it right now. And the combination of the planets hasn't happened in probably about 10-15 years right now, of these retrograded planets kind of keeping us in a standstill. So it's just another month and you're going to feel a lot better.
I like that. It's crazy that we're even like here. Like I can't believe it's the end of September already. Wow. Feels like the year's just gone by so quick. I also saw TLC on your website, so you're doing some work for them. What are you doing for them?
Well, in 2019 I was on I Am Jazz, that television show?
No,
On
I don't watch
TLC?
TV that much.
It was a big, I don't really either that much, but so TLC, I Am Jazz, it's the transgender. So they had called me, and she lived in the area. I didn't know anything about the show, and they asked if I would, come on and do a reading for the star of the show, Jazz. And so I was like, sure. So they came in with their camera crew and stuff, but it was a little intimidating and stuff at first. And then I did the reading, and it was on air. And then they asked me to do it again. So then I did the grandfather came on. And so it was really fun, and great people. I mean, authentic, nice people. It was like amazing.
Mm,
So, I get to put the little tag on my thing that I
that's
was on the
awesome. Yeah, I
show.
saw
I actually did a reading today for somebody, like, because I do Zoom readings too.
that. Mhm.
And I said, well, I always ask, well, how'd you find us? And she's like, oh, I saw you on the jazz show. And I'm like, wow, it was long ago, but people still watch the reruns and stuff. So I was like, cool.
You have such a great energy about you. Like I like you're very, like you said, you're very free flowing, like conversation, like you are very free flowing.
Thank
Do
you.
you ever get nervous, like when you give readings out? Like, do you ever doubt like some of the messages? Do you wonder if it's accurate? Do you think that, you know what I mean? Does that ever run through your head?
I don't doubt it anymore, because I know it's not coming from me, and there's no middleman when I do a reading for you. Like I always tell people, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm hearing. So like, I'm very, let me say this, Archangel Michael is very blunt sometimes, and he'll tell you just like it is. And so I tell people, I'm just going to say, like, whatever comes out of my mouth, it's coming from him, because once I channel, it's kind of like I'm there, but I stepped aside in a way. And so I like to let people know that. And no, I mean, I feel like my voice and the channeling together are like perfect harmony for people. And I always set the intention every single day of my life. There's probably not one day that I don't remember that I did this, but anytime I do a reading, I am doing it for the highest and the greatest good of that person. And I want to be the cleanest, best channel. Like I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't do anything like that. I won't watch any scary movies. Nothing to alter myself. So this way I won't, alter anybody else's reading. And, and that's really important, I think, if you do it for a living. It's different if you're doing it for fun or whatever you're doing, and it's cool and stuff. But, if you're kind of dedicating, like to me, I dedicate my life to this. As long as Archangel Michael allows me to do it, I'm going to do it for him. And I'm proud to do it and
That's
honored.
awesome. Yeah.
So.
Staying at a higher vibration. So that way you can connect and get the most accurate messages for your clients.
Yep, absolutely.
Well,
And myself again,
Yeah, right. Well, that must be nice for you, right? Like to be able to have access to that and have wisdom right there, right? How does Archangel Michael helped you in your life as far as personally or professionally?
Oh my God. Everything. I mean, basically, 11 years ago, I opened a store called My Flora Aura. Since I stepped in here, it was like I used to own flower shops. I used to sell flowers on the side of a road from my Jeep in an old van. And then from there, I think it was my practice, because people would stop and talk to me all the time, and I wasn't doing readings because I didn't even think about that then. And so I think that was my practice with people. And through that, then, I started doing weddings and all this kind of stuff. And then I got a calling. I had surgery on my neck. I had cervical spine surgery. I always say it made me a better conduit, because I have metal in my, I have titanium in my neck. And actually, when I came out of that surgery, I was channeling a man's voice when they were trying to bring me through, and I could hear my voice, and I kept saying gratitude in this man's voice. And I was still doing flowers at the time. And I kept hearing like, hey, stop doing flowers. You need to do something else. But I loved my job, and I was making great money. And so I was ignoring it. And then I got laid up basically with my neck thing. And I went to look for a flower place. And I went to this building one day out of the hospital with my neck brace on. My friend had to drive me. And I walked into the place, and that same voice came out of me and said, I'll take it. And she looked at me, and I looked at her, and I was like, did you just say that? I said, I don't know. And I signed the lease and everything. And I'm like, did I just take this place? It was really wild. But I even literally got a phone call. My angels and guides, I didn't know who they were at the time, were telling me to just do readings, because I was fooling around like in my little flower place doing some readings. And I heard, stop doing flowers. You're only going to do readings. And I was like, oh, come on. How am I going to make any money? Like, I always mess with my guides a little bit. They mess with us too. And so 2 seconds later, I swear to God, my phone rings. I answer it, and they're like, hi, my name is so-and-so, I'm a friend of yours that you just did a reading for, for fun or whatever. She's like, can I pay you to do a reading? And I was like, what? She's like, can I pay you? And I said, can I call you back? I was like, are you kidding me? So yeah, it was pretty interesting.
I love those type of moments when you kind of like confirm things, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Totally. You get confirmation. We get confirmation as humans. We get it every single day. It's just that people aren't clear or mindful enough to notice. They give us so many signs. It's not even funny. I could tell you, I probably get at least 5 signs a day of like literally of things in my life that show up.
What about dreams? Like, can they be messages from the other side?
Oh, definitely. Yes,
No?
definitely. Tons of like I get my channelings for writing books at 3:33 in the morning. I wake up, like last night I woke up still kind of a little tired because I just got up and I started writing for my next book. It's like if somebody's like telling it to me and I'm just writing it. It's amazing. But your dreams, absolutely. Like, what kind of dreams did you have? You have one that like maybe you want to kind of evaluate or something?
Oh man, I might have to do this one off air because it's pretty deep. But yeah, I mean, I get messages. Like I get frustrated because I can't control it, right? Like I'm a big Robert Monroe fan. I don't know if you know who he is or not. Out of body experiences, right?
Oh,
The Monroe Institute with like Hemi-Sync, and you're able to come out. Yeah. Well, like he, in his dreams before he was having out of body experiences, like he was having these like flying dreams, right? Like, and then all of a sudden he started having out of body experiences. But like with mine, it's kind of like, I don't have any control like, at all. Like I don't, and then I wake up, I'm like, crap, that was a dream. Like, I don't know, but I feel like, and a lot of people say this, like when you're dreaming, it's very hard to be lucid, but when you're dreaming, that's when you're maybe out of body. I don't know.
Yeah, we can definitely be out of body. People could visit us, or you could visit them and go to different dimensions. And it is quite amazing. And usually your sign is when you wake up tired, like exhausted, it's because you were out of body. So, think back of maybe like after that happened to you, if you were like felt really exhausted that day, you were out of body, 100%. And
I hear like the falling, right? When you feel like you're falling, you wake up like you're supposed to come back to your. Yeah. That's when you come back to your body. I just love it. Well, because like Robert Monroe, like he's like I just read his 3rd book, like the 10th time that I read it, because it's so it gets beyond belief systems. It's like he has, you have to read his stuff, and then you have to let me know what your thoughts are on it, because like it's like you outside of this world, there's different dimensions or different levels of consciousness. Like, and as you get past the belief systems, now you're starting to get into like deeper realities of different planes, and it's crazy. And like he went to what he calls his eye there, which is actually like a cluster of like, I wouldn't say, I guess it's his soul, where he has a cluster of all of his past life experiences there in this one spot. And that's where he finally learned that he was that, and that he calls it missing basic. His missing basic function here, or our missing basic function here, is like for that soul to call back all of the other souls that they're connected with. And like, because of the life experiences and everything, like the development of that, of us. And he gets to this soul, I guess oversoul or something. And like, he goes to back where this oversoul originated. And like, he was able to do something and go and wake up as the larger consciousness. And as he does that, it's I can't even explain it. It's like, you have to read it and then like tell me about it, because like it's so fascinating, because it's like every individual soul is connected to another, like a main oversoul or something. And then every oversoul is connected to every other oversoul of a bunch of people. And essentially what I got from it is that everybody's connected. And then once that consciousness wakes up, it goes into a whole nother dimension of, or level, or whatever you want to call it, that is connected with other sources of consciousness. And it just keeps on going like that. And it's like, it just kind of blew my mind a little bit. He's like, he spent his entire life researching how to get out of body, how to use Hemi-Sync and technology to get other people out of body. He never took the time to like go inward and figure out what was underneath the hood and see like what it is that we are. And like he did that. And then he's very mysterious in his writing. Like he kind of like, you know, he uses terminology. I don't know what he's talking about. Like, but it sounds really cool, you know? Like,
well, there's some people that get super deep with the dimensions and things like that, that sometimes it's hard for people to grasp. I mean, we do know that there's other dimensions, and you know, for that, you know, I can tell you that in my experience, Archangel Michael even says, like, if you think about us, we're like this shiny diamond, and throughout our lives, we get blemishes on ourselves through our occurrences and things that happen, good or bad, and all that kind of stuff, right? But we came in shiny and clean. And so it's up to us to erase whatever we want, as long as we give ourselves permission to do so. And as adults, most people forget that they could give themselves permission, and nobody could do it but us, right? And so, you know, you can get people to help you do this and do that, but it's all, we have all the tools we need right within ourselves. And so when we want to go out of body and we want to explore other places, it's easier for us to do that. And a lot of people, you know, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people want to go outside their body because they don't want to be present, or they're, you know, they're not feeling whole enough to be in this dimension wholly. And when we have like past life regressions or parallel, I believe in parallel a little bit more, but you know, because I do the past life and parallel with people a lot. It's interesting because you can see how we have what I call crossovers. Like you could have remnants of still another life. Like I always give this one example, like a lot of people who feel like they got one foot in this life, one foot another, like they don't necessarily always want to be here. You know, it's because most of the time when there's no other explanation for it, like no other explanation for it, like, you know, it's not like they have a hard childhood or they had something happen to them in this lifetime. I mean, there's like no explanation. 9 times out of 10, if I take them into a past or parallel life, that in that lifetime, they never finished it. They never saw themselves like either pass on or they had unfinished business there. So they never allowed themselves to complete that frequency, you know, with that frequency to carry over into this one to feel whole in this one. So it's really neat. Like all this stuff could get so deep. It's like awesome.
how do you do past life regressions? Do you have to get them to be kind of hypnotized? Do you do that, or you just kind of, how do you do that?
You could do it 2 ways. You could you could be a hypnotherapist and take people deeper. But there are ways to do it in a meditative state where it's not, you know, not what we would consider hypnotism. So I don't hypnotize because I'm not licensed to do that, but I do it in a meditative state for people, and I take you back so you get relaxed enough to, you know, experience something outside of this realm. And it's really fun.
That is fun. Well, so like, I'm assuming that you definitely had some insight from your resources. Is it like the soul that is me, that like I am not this body, right? Like,
right.
Does this the awareness that is Trey keep coming back and living different lives, or is it, do I, the personality that is Trey, or this that I think is Trey, go back to like a soul or source, and then that's how I'm connected? Or is I that's why I get confused a little bit, right? Like, does Trey, this individual soul, keep living different lives in this realm, or do I go back to a higher source of like I don't know, a larger soul, and go back with all the different personalities, but I am that soul? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it's a belief system. Like whatever feels good to you when you read things, if that connects with you, then, you know, views of that or other experiences of people to kind of see what really connects with you. It could be a combination of the both. Again, like from my experience, I believe that, you know, there's so many different, there's so many different dimensions, or like my guides even said, there's like different words for it. Like our vocabulary can't even like describe what some of these places are. And that's the hard part, because then I can explain to anybody, right? It's hard to explain. And that's why you say it's hard to explain, because it is. But I believe that everything is a frequency. Like we have literally a frequency, just like the planets have a frequency. Like, you know, if I have tuning forks that are tuned to the sun and the moon, right? They're all different hertz, you know, hertz of how we measure frequencies. Just like back in the day, the old radios, a quartz crystal was used to create the frequency inside of that to make it connect so we could, you know, hear the music off of it. I mean, and we're using them in our computers now, right? They're crystal chips that have frequencies. So all these frequencies, we have our own unique frequency that we created in this lifetime, but we also have ones from all of our other lifetimes. And I believe that that makes up are, I'm going to say like, like your other guy was saying, like a vault box, or like some people call it Akashic records. Archangel Michael just calls it your soul. And so your soul has all this information of everything that you ever needed. And it's good, clean, and clear. We're the ones that put blemishes on it and things that we do in our lives that can, mess it up a little bit. Right. And, we all mess up things or we won't learn things, but we also have the choice to erase things or change the frequency. Just like from day to day, we could change the way that we act. We could be happy, we could be sad, or anything in between. We're just changing our frequency constantly. And so we're able to do that on a bigger level because that's on all these other dimensions that you're talking about, or these places we could experience. But I think it's so incredible because we're never going to know until we know. And from there, we're probably never going to know until we know again,
Yeah, I'm sorry to bombard you with all my questions. I just have so many
cool.
about life.
Anything
Why are we here?
Yes.
Do you think that, like, I definitely think we are a piece of, whether I'm the finger of God or source or whatever, like, I feel like we're all a piece of that. Do you think we have the potential to create like that too? I feel like that's why we want to create things all the time. Like, we are so creative because we are that of creation and we took part in that. We are literally of that. So there's no question why we want to be creative and build things and see it flourish and nurture it and blah, blah, blah. I mean, we create life with kids. I mean, I've done it 3 times. But again, you take that power away from yourself when you fall into this belief of everything that's great is outside of me. Like, I've had 3 kids and I'm like, it still blows my mind. Like, but then it's like, we've done this. Like, this, whatever this is, this avatar has helped produce life. But then I like question myself when I'm like, can I change my reality? Like, can I, do the things that you were talking about earlier in like 2023? Can I hit those targets? Can I not manipulate, but can I manifest things in my life? Does that?
Yeah, absolutely. You absolutely can. I mean, I'm living proof of it. I mean, I wrote 8 books, made 3 decks, and then I made another 3 decks. I did like all this like within 11 years. And like everybody says, how do you have time to do all this stuff? And I said, I don't know. It's just like it channels through me, and not all of it's me. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. The universe is helping what I need. And I just kind of go with the flow. And
you love it though. I mean,
I love it more than anything. And I would never give up.
It's effortlessly. Effortless.
Effortless. It is effortless.
And that's when
I also gave in, meaning when I was younger, I'm a Scorpio. So Scorpios used to be there. They could be a couple different ways. Some of them can be, what's the word? Rar. Very raw energy. And then there's another part of a Scorpio that can be very like, let things flow. And I used to be the other way. So I learned early on in my life, it wasn't working out so well for me. And so as soon as I let go and said, you know what, I can't control anybody but myself, and I'm not going to try to, I'm just going to allow myself to be happy and have goals for myself and do weekly goals. And as they happen, they're going to happen. And they did. And so sometimes when we let go, we don't have that frequency that blocks us. So it's like, whenever people try too hard, it's like a big wall comes in your way. So it's a frequency wall is what I call it. And all you have to do is allow yourself to release it. And then guess what? Everything flows good, right? I mean, it really is that simple. Archangel Michael says it all the time. So we always have bad shit that happens to us, because, that's how we learn. And, and some worse than others, unfortunately. But that makes us who we are, and that creates our frequency to make us better and to help others. Sometimes we go through shit to help other people. And that's a beautiful thing. We need to help each other, and we should all have what Archangel Michael says, equal energy exchange. That's what's wrong with the world right now. People don't have equal energy, and that's why we're in this position, of what's going on in the world right now. It's it's a me world right now. It's not a equal energy world.
100%. How can people find you? How can they research you and get your books?
They could go to Jolie DeMarco with a DeMarco.com. You could also go to crystaljunkie.com, and it's on Amazon. My books are on Amazon. This one's called How to Meditate with Crystals. This one teaches you 5 different methods of meditation. So if you think you have to have your eyes closed, you don't. So you could do walking, manifesting meditations. Trey, I'm going to send you one.
Okay.
So you could do this different ones there and connecting to your spirit guides or loved ones that have passed over. It tells you just different ones. And the coolest thing, if I could plug my book for a sec,
Good.
the coolest thing when I created this book, because I love to meditate, and everybody always thinks that it has to be like closed-eyed and crossed legs, and it's not true. You could be working out and you get to that headspace where you go to nothingness, or like you're on autopilot. Whenever you forget about time is when you meditate. Okay, if you just think about that for a second. And in my book, I wrote out all these different ways for purposes, for a certain purpose, like whatever your purpose is. Like when somebody tells me they want to meditate, I say, well, what's your purpose? Do you want to manifest things, or do you want to release stuff, or do you want to advance yourself, or you want to talk to somebody that's passed over? Once you know what the purpose is, you look it up. And then I write it verbatim. You could record your own voice on your phone and make your own guided meditation and play it back. So you don't have to overthink it. And then you just play it and you're good. So I make it easy, so easy for you. And you'll never get bored because there's 33 different meditations in the book.
I can't wait to get this bad boy. I tell you that much right now.
Yeah.
Jolie, this has been fantastic. You're gonna have to come back again. You're truly a friend of the show now. You're part of the team.
Right.
Thank you so much for joining.
Oh, thanks for having me, Trey. Appreciate it. And you're your superior self.